Hello, welcome into another sports podcast. This week we have Week 10 NFL Power Rankings and Games. As always, Triggered, aka Big Nate, that's me. You know what we do here, guys. We're going to give you the Power Rankings where we go over teams 32 to 1 in my unique 3-segment style, which concludes with the top 10. I'll go ahead and get you the Week 10 Game Slate, as well as the top 5 games of the week. Let's go ahead and get to that first segment, the basement teams. At 32, I have the Detroit Lions. 31, Washington Football Team. 30, Houston Texans. 29, Carolina Panthers. 28, New York Jets. 27, Miami Dolphins. 26, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars. 24 is the New York Giants. 23 is the Indianapolis Colts. 22, the Atlanta Falcons. And 21, the Denver Broncos. When I look at these teams here, a couple of things I wanted to point out. There was a couple of huge wins from teams in the basement, making statement wins against some of the upper echelon teams. For example, you had the Denver Broncos beating my Dallas Cowboys. You had the Giants taking the Raiders. And the Jacksonville Jaguars surprisingly beat the Buffalo Bills. Yes, that actually all happened literally at the same time at like 1 p.m. A pretty wild week in the NFL. So we can start off with the NFC East like I always do. We typically like to talk about this division. We're going to get to the Cowboys here a little bit later. But the NFC East, amongst the 3 bottom ones, it's truly up for grabs. It's a mad scramble. And remember, this whole basement is very volatile. And with them all having 2 or 3 wins, it's a mad dash for who can finish it second. I doubt that any of these teams can really make a push to get toward the NFC playoffs, but I've seen stranger things happen. So now the Falcons won, but they hadn't moved up any. Now they did have that big win against the Saints, and they torched the Saints secondary. But if you look at the teams that the Atlanta Falcons have beat, obviously just now the Saints, but the other 3 wins they have are against the Dolphins, Jets, and the Giants. Not a very good showing there. The Falcons, of course, their matchup with Dallas coming up this week. That concludes the basement teams there. I saw. By the way, guys, my article is down in the description below. If you guys would like to read all the information about each of the teams, feel free to go down there and give that a click. All right, teams 20 through 11. So we have the San Francisco 49ers as the 20th ranked team. At 19, I have the Chicago Bears. At 18, the Minnesota Vikings. 17 is the Seattle Seahawks. 16 for the Kansas City Chiefs. 15 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 14, New Orleans Saints. 13, Cincinnati Bengals. 12, Las Vegas Raiders. And at 11, Cleveland Browns. So first look at the fringe here. Definitely want to make note of the 49ers. They looked just awful playing against Colt McCoy and the Cardinals. They allowed him to go 22 for 26 with 119 rating. That's right, Colt McCoy did that. It is very apparent they missed Robert Saleh. Their defense is not the same as it used to be. They gave up a ton of rushing yardage in that game as well. So as promising as sometimes the San Francisco 49ers can look, they equally look quite disappointing with defensive performances like they showed last week. The Bears did not play well to start that game with Pittsburgh. However, Justin Fields put on display what I already knew about him. This guy is a winner. He can do just about anything with his feet that you could possibly ask for an NFL quarterback. He is not finished by any means, and he is going to be a true superstar in the NFL. So very impressed with how he came back into that game to take the lead there at the end. Other things I wanted to note here, the Seattle Seahawks, all signs right now look like Russell Wilson is going to be returning in great time here too, coming off the bye week. They're playing the Green Bay Packers. The Chiefs won and they dropped 3 spots. I mean, you could put lipstick on a pig. The Chiefs winning the way they did against the Packers, 13-7. And the Packers had Jordan Love, who played terribly. So I'm not impressed at all with the Kansas City Chiefs. They really need to get on the ball and get on the ball quickly. When we get to the top part of the fringe here, teams 15 through 11, I like to think of these teams are very hard to separate. When you look at the Steelers all the way up to the Cleveland Browns. In all honesty, these teams are very inconsistent, and they have the pieces to all be successful or very, very good teams, potentially could make playoff runs. Steelers, I would have to say their biggest flaw, unfortunately, is their quarterback. Big Ben looks great sometimes when he goes 21 for 30, but the total yardage he has, the depth of his targets, the pump fakes he can no longer hold on to, those are reasons why, for me, the Steelers, I can't put them any higher. especially in their conference. Look, they're behind the Bengals and the Browns, and in all honesty, those teams are probably more physical and better teams. You got the Saints that they had a fun weekend. They decided to take all the inconsistency they had throughout the entire year and smash it into like the last 8 minutes of the game. Because with 8 minutes to go, they were down 24-6, and in 7 minutes that became 25-24. They're up by one. Of course, they go on to lose. Sean Payton's always going to bring his team to play. They're going to be tough. How far they're going to go without a quarterback, probably not super far. I would say the Bengals and Browns in the AFC can make some definite noise. The Browns simply have a physical football team. Unfortunately, Nick Chubb is tested positive for COVID, but Nick Chubb running the football for the Cleveland Browns is something special. All right, let's jump over to the top 10 teams heading into Week 10. We have at 10 the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm really impressed with the Chargers offense. It's extremely powerful. They put up 445 yards, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go. Their defense obviously leaves some room for concern with the running game. Sometimes they can't get pressure, so they move down a slot, but I still like the Chargers. Number 9, the New England Patriots. They stick to their identity. I really like it. They play tough defense. They run the ball. When you do that, it just makes things easier for Mac Jones, and I really believe in how Bill Belichick has put this team together. Number 8, the Green Bay Packers. Without Aaron Rodgers, the Packers are pretty much nothing. They have some good players, don't get me wrong. But without Aaron Rodgers, they are not even in the realm of the top 10. Hopefully they'll get Aaron Rodgers back this week. Number 7, the Dallas Cowboys. They played about as bad a game as they have all year. I think they played their worst game of the year against the Broncos. They were pretty much shut out for a majority of that game. They scored a couple touchdowns in garbage time. Their defensive interior looked extremely soft, and they gave up too many rushing yards. So very much not a good showing for the Dallas Cowboys defense. They do look like, outside of this game, an extremely strong contender. We'll have to see. Can they bounce back? Number 6, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Good week for the Buccaneers, as they got to watch the Falcons beat the Saints, which kept Tampa at the top of their division. Number 5, the Buffalo Bills. They lost to the Jags, so that's going to put a dent on your ranking, no doubt. The Bills do get another subpar matchup coming up this week against New York, their division rival Jets. Be very interesting to see if they can maybe get back to their winning ways. Number 4, the Los Angeles Rams. They didn't fall too far. They went from 1 to 3. Didn't look good. Matthew Stafford rolled his ankle. He says he's good to go here for his upcoming game this Sunday. I still think the Rams are a very, very strong team. Number 3, the Tennessee Titans, the team that just beat the Rams. They played extremely well. A lot of respect to them. Their defense, 5 sacks, an early pick 6. Really Tennessee Titan way to win that football game. And they're a strong team, even without Derrick Henry. And if they're in the playoffs, I don't think any of the other AFC teams want a part of them. Number 2, the Baltimore Ravens. Extremely strong team. Lamar and John Harbaugh are about as overpowered a combination as you can get. Lamar carried for more yardage than Dalvin Cook did. Put that in perspective as well. They get a short week here coming up. We're going to get to that here in just a second. Number 1, the best team in the NFL heading into Week 10. The Arizona Cardinals. They have reclaimed their spot. When you win without your best players, Kyler and D-Hop, a lot of respect for that. That shows that the team is well coached. Yes, they played against a weaker opponent, but that's what you do. Even without your quarterback, you go out there and you play your best, and they definitely put a good showing out there against San Fran. All right, that wraps up the top 10. There you have it. Let's go ahead and move right on over. Let's take a look at that game slate for Week 10. All right, Thursday Night Football kicks off with Baltimore and Miami. On Sunday at 1 p.m., you have Atlanta at Dallas, New Orleans at Tennessee, Jacksonville at Indianapolis, Cleveland at New England, Buffalo at the Jets, Detroit at Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay at Washington. The 4:05 games, you have Carolina at Arizona, and Minnesota at the Chargers. At 4:25, you have Philadelphia at Denver and Seattle at Green Bay. At 8:20 p.m., you have Kansas City in Vegas. And Monday night's game is the LA Rams at San Francisco 49ers. The 4 teams on bye week this week are the Chicago Bears, Cincinnati Bengals, New York Giants, and Houston Texans. I'll leave that up here for 1 second more. You guys can look at the schedule, see where those teams are playing and at what time. And it's time for the top 5 games of the week. At number 5, the Saints and Titans. So I really like this game. Two winning teams, maybe a little less popular teams, especially with some key injuries, right? The Titans missing Derrick Henry, the Saints missing Jameis Winston. I think this game's going to be a heck of a close one there in Tennessee. Number 4, the LA Rams and San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. That's going to be a great game. Anytime you get the Rams on prime time, a divisional game, Monday night, I'm down to watch it. Number 3, the Chiefs and Raiders. Another divisional game there for you from the Death Star in Vegas. I hope the Raiders bounce back. I'm going to be rooting for them. I'm not the biggest Chiefs fan in the world. Nothing personal, but I really like the thought of the Raiders maybe pulling out a win down there on that one. Number 2, the Browns and Patriots. That's just a great matchup of two 5-4 teams, two tough teams, two well-coached teams. That's going to be a banger of football. And number 1, the best game of the week, the Seahawks and Packers. Anytime these two teams get together, something crazy happens. I've seen so many crazy moments between the Seahawks and Packers to know not to miss that game. So that is the best game of the week. There you have it. Those are 5 really, really good football games. As always, guys, want to thank you for watching. You guys are all truly the best. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, drop a comment down below, and a special shout out to my family and friends. You guys are the best. Peace.